Kind of the city kind of fell from grace, I think, at a lot of different, just like the divisiveness between people and like the way they treated like and the homeless people there, the way they're treated, it's just like a lot. It's just, you know, so yeah, that kind of made me a little bit wary of moving there because I was like thinking about moving there for music to do that because I heard like a lot of really good artists like kind of started out there or that there's a scene at least of people. And not all of them were like on like Fred Armisen or Carrie Brownstein in Portlandia. But maybe some of them are, I'm not sure. But I think, like, I don't think, the thing is, it's like, I could have done that, and that would have just been just as valid, just as, like, I could quit writing and not do writing, and even though I love it, and I could just do music, and that would be just as well. There's no one answer. I get this. You guys get this, obviously. It's a pretty standard, run-of-the-mill, existentialist motif of, like, existence precedes essence. What you imbue into your life is totally up to you, and how you characterize, like, how you breathe life and meaning into it, it's up to you. And I firmly still believe in that. But at the same time, actually, just to build off that a little bit more, there are also, this whole thing about there's certain cities that like certain parts of the country or the world, for that matter, where things are just happening. Like, there's just, like Chelsea, New York, like, Greenwich Village, I think is, Los Angeles, California, or Hollywood, California. That's where things are just happening. And Portland, Oregon, too. Like, I felt for that too. It's like, like these are the places, these are the hubs. Somewhere maybe Florida too. I think like Miami, I guess. Even Texas too. Like, like there's still like San Antonio or whatever. I've been there. It's pretty nice city. It's like it's not quite the southern kind of it's not quite the kind of redneck type of thing that, as people would like to point out. I mean, there's parts of West Virginia, like like literally an hour from me, where people are a lot more southern and stuff, characteristically so, than people in Louisiana, which I actually worked in for a tiny bit. But yeah, it's like this. There's this. I think it's a fallacy that there are things where the most stuff is happening, like, or they're very influential, formative cities where if you don't go there, if you don't go to this place, it's gonna, like, you're not gonna find anything around you. It's like, I don't believe that, because there's actually just as many people in this city or in this thing, and there's a lot of it that's up to you too. Like, I firmly believe in the do-it-yourself kind of thing. Like, whether it's teaching yourself how to paint or teaching yourself how to it's the art of cinematography or photography or whatever. There's the art. There's also a lot of studying and stuff that you have to do that not to use the word could again, but like stuff that you could very well be doing on your own terms, and accruing hours just kind of behind the scenes. And it's like, that's kind of where I feel like a lot of my time ends up being spent, is kind of the studious aspect. I don't, I've tried going out and putting my feet out there, but I always find it like, where was I? I was talking about, my thing is, my failure, I think, is my weakness is actually putting my feet out and putting my neck out, actually, and doing things and being out in the open and doing, that is my, like, kind of my big thing that I'm trying to work on. Like, I'm trying to work on, like, I've tried busking a few times, but I was kind of, because this is in Pittsburgh, that I actually ended up kind of being, I don't know what's the word. It's I didn't quite know where the right place to go. It's like, well, some people say that the 6th Street Bridge is the place to go, and it's like, well, that was closed down. So it's like, maybe the 5th Street Bridge and the Andy Warhol Bridge, and I ended up going there and playing there for a little bit. The first time I did it, like, it was really hot out, and I actually only did it for a few hours because I was trying to get my bearing. And I didn't get any money, but, you know, that's kind of just as well, because there's, like, tons of other people. There's just a lot of people just walking, you know, basically trying to get to the next place to cool off, and, you know, same thing with me, because it was so freaking hot. But I think, the second time it was, like, I got, like maybe $20, and then, like, the third time I think I got, like, a combined, like, 40 something bucks or something. So it's like, I think it's like, yes, there are people that do busking and they go into it, and like some people, I watched like a mini doc or whatever on like Vox, I don't know if it's Vice or Vox or whatever, talking about busking, and it was like, in New York City, and like how some people are like, well, I used to be like a nanny or a babysitter, and like and now I make more doing busking, like in less time, and there's certain hours where you're like, or like certain sweet spots, and like there like rushes where people, like, you get most people, and you have to like, and then some people are like very, you know, garrulous and open, you know, they're like, you have to actually be this way to kind of you know, seduce people, you know, for lack of a better word, this is just my phrasing, you know, I don't remember word for word, but he was like, you know, seemed like a cool guy, whatever, but he was just saying like, oh, you have to be like very, you know, interactive with your audience. You have to get them to like you, and you have to get them to kind of come back, and you have to get them. And I'm like thinking like, you know, I don't care if that's a skill set that you can build. I don't actually care about, you know, I mean, a part of me does. Like I talked about the whole thing of like, well, yeah, I do care. Deep down, I do care. Like I do care if this video, like, if suddenly, like, I don't know, if 100,000 people watched it, I'd be like, whoa. Like I'd be like, did I do something? Am I doing something? Or, you know, and part of me thought about like algorithm or YouTube algorithm, going back to that again, just because I'm trying to exhaust this point for all it's worth, with all my self-pity and all my, you know, all my kvetching. And, but yeah, it's this thing where, I start thinking like, is it because people, in this weird abstract interaction exchange that's going on, a parasocial exchange, even though I hate that term, it perfectly describes what I'm trying to talk about. You know, the audience watching this right now, if you've made it this far, commending you if you have. Is it a thing where it's like, there's no use trying, there's no way, there's no magic number, there's no set of rules that can get you to like, for the audience to like you? That it's just a thing that happens. It's inherent with you. Is it because are these videos of, let's say, you know, it's people doing simple living or something? Is it because, you know, people genuinely want to return to these things, and it's like people see these simple livings, and there's a really interesting video, I can't remember who's by, on like how people kind of romanticize poverty, and they're kind of doing this thing where it's like, you know, like one YouTube couple, a family, I think, they have like, you know, oh, they do simple living, and they're like, oh, we live off the grid, and we live, you know, totally as if we were impoverished and like have, you know, pittance. But in actuality, the son is the, you know, or the guy is the son of a billionaire who owns like this very successful, like, you know, Fortune 500 company, I think. So it's kind of like, I mean, props to you, I guess, for doing that, but at the same time, it's like you're still getting like tons of views and possible money income coming from that, so it's like that's kind of fishy. But anyway, I still need to watch the full thing, but it's just like, there's things that people do. I think everybody's like, people understand that there's, you know, there's people do yearn for things that are to go back to simplicity, to go back to some semblance of like simple living and minimalism. Like, ooh, minimalism, it's like, look at my sleek this and that, and I don't drive a nice car, and I don't either. I mean, I have like a freaking 2005 Toyota Corolla that's like all beaten up, and then I still have to like fix the you know, the bumper or whatever, and it's like it's tearing off. But like I don't, you know, it's like I don't feel the need to show off, or to like, it's weird to just like show off, because it's like, it is weird in a sense that like people are like kind of touting it in a way that people, I'm not going to name any names, but like Alice Capel, she's a French YouTuber, she has some pretty good things on that. That's why I feel like kind of like I'm out of my league when I'm talking about these things, because it's like there's people who already have more of their finger on the pulse of what's going on in the YouTube culture and this and that, and maybe I do to an extent, like I do, because it's like a panopticon type of thing where it's like, you know, I see like so much stupid cultural things that I do want to. Part of me actually just wants to do weird, like, react videos in a way like, Drew Gooden or, Curtis O'Connor, or like people like that do, and they're great at it, or people like kind of maybe lesser known people like Yoon Cat. She does like really funny but also pretty informative stuff on like stuff like Tony Robbins, for example. Like I just watched like the 2 parts she did on that. It was like she went a deep dive into Tony Robbins. It was like a good I think it was a collective like 3 hours or something. She was going on like the history and stuff, like how he came to be and all that. It's just like how like he's and I just won't even go into it because it's like another rabbit hole. But like it is it's worth watching. But I could do stuff like that. Like, do I want? But at the same time, I feel like I don't want to just be the person reacting, but I also want to kind of be the person kind of I don't know, like there's something freeing in like writing my own stuff, or like writing my own stuff, or making my own music and stuff, and that, and focusing on that, even if it doesn't get me immediate stuff or immediate likes and stuff like that, or attraction and stuff like that. But like I think like a lot of going back to kind of like people's opinions and everything, like the world at large, I don't think actually cares. Nobody cares if you're like internet savvy or well read, for example, or nobody cares if you've read hundreds of books, or if you've listened to the best podcasts and lectures and all that, and this is kind of speaking from experience too. Like it's nobody cares if like. Now, when I say that, I'm not trying to be like a Candace Owens, like, listen, Hollywood, nobody cares what you think. Like, obviously it's like there's a prescriptive type of thing going on where it's like normative type things where you say things ought to be a certain way, that's normative. Or you say descriptive things, these are the things way are. The way things are right now. Nobody, but I'm just saying the way things are, nobody actually really cares what it did. And I say this as like kind of maybe just my own narrow-minded kind of parochial experience. Like, let's say when I went back to working at a fast food environment a few weeks ago or whatever, in recent history, and I've been meaning to talk about this a little bit more, but like it's such this fast-paced environment where it's like everything is has to be accelerated to the nth degree. Like, don't even bother. If you sweep, it's not even, it's like, there's no breathing room for anything. No, not even an ounce of like introspection. If I tried, believe me, like just going to like, the cooler the cooler where you can't be seen, like the walk-in cooler, so you can grab some stuff like to be put out, stocked in the front line. And it's like, and I was like, trying to get like just a few seconds of just peace, just being like, reorient myself. In like 2 seconds I was like poof, and like somebody walks in and it's just like ruined. So yeah, that's the thing. It's like these spaces, what I'm saying is like nobody cares, is that once you go into these environments, like there's a huge disparation between the stuff that I've learned over the years, that I've learned as an autodidactic and just kind of studying, I know so much about X, Y, and Z. I've studied this stuff. Nobody, there's all, like, it comes out like as soon as you go into the environment of like, the workforce, general like workforce that isn't kind of in academia, for example, that we have to go through certain steps and processes and 10-step type of things to kind of get in the know, or to know somebody, or if you're already lucky enough to be a trust fund person, or that has, or I don't, no hate to anybody like that, or somebody who has just rich enough parents, like they're not even rich, filthy rich type of Lamborghini type of thing, but they're just like, they just got successful at what they're doing, and it's just like, like they could be playwrights that came from this and that, but like nobody cares when you go down when. The time goes back when you have to get a job. Like, I'm looking at, my bank account just like draining, and I'm like, I don't really care about money that much. Like, I don't really care, I don't go out of my way to make money. If I did, maybe that would be more apparent, but I don't know. I'd like to think I don't, but I think, I don't care about money. There's times in my life where I did kind of like earlier in my 20s. I think like I was like, ooh, I gotta start working more hours and stuff with this and with the trade job and stuff that I tried out for a few years, and I was like, whoa, I gotta start if I want to break, 50 to 60,000 this year. I'm gonna have to start traveling more and going across the country and stuff like that. And then I realized how depressing and lonely I was. Like, I was probably the loneliest I've ever been in my life. And I was just like, yeah, this isn't fulfilling. And I was just like, it doesn't matter how many, I just want to be closer to home, around my, kind of my circle of people, kind of to where I feel most myself. And I want to just be creating stuff and, being, making videos, doing things, writing, making music, and, that type of thing. But even then, it was like, like I wasn't making more than like maybe 50 to 60 grand a year. But at the same time, it's like so weird because like there would be certain times when in the union, or, sorry, I don't want to bring up the union again, but it's like you get a guaranteed job, you get a guaranteed this or that, or your spot, the workforce is guaranteed for the most part. And it's like, if not, you just call up, and just say like, hey, I need put me on an out of work list or whatnot. And it's just like, you can do that. And there'd be days where the work and that would be so severe and like, so just like hauling drywall over your back, just being like, oh, like trying to get like hang drywall, and it's like very severe. And then like the next day it would be like, oh, we have nothing for you to do today, so just sit around and wait and hide from the boss or something. It's just like, or the nuclear plants or whatever, if you work there, it's like there's so much time you're just sitting around, and it's like, and then it's just like in that, but you'd be making well over $30 an hour for that, and then it's like and then you're put in a different environment where you're fast food cooking and you're doing this, you get minimum wage, and you're spending every second of the day, at least in the place I was, I'm not speaking for all minimum wage jobs, but like it's just the general dichotomy between these two things is that there's so, like, you're spending so much of your time just like trying to get by, just trying to do the bare minimum, and it still doesn't feel good enough for anybody there. And minimum wage in these jobs, these little, these people that devote their entire being to these jobs, because you haven't sacrificed your soul to them yet though. I mean, but it's just strange, like this contrast between those two jobs. It's like, sit around, like, yes, union jobs and stuff like that, you have to like deal with like a lot of like really annoying people and stuff like that. I talked about that, but once you got through like kind of like the main kind of like initiation services and stuff and like the weird rites, you're like making some pretty good money, but you're far away from home, you had to travel, everything was up in the air, you didn't know how many hours you're going to get at the new plant. Whereas like, same thing with like fast food though, but like it's just strange to me, like it's just like some jobs, like it's like pay horrible shit amount, total like lowest of the low, bare common denominator, and you're treated awful. You're like I think like the worst experiences like I've some of these places, just like just if like, and it's some of it's coming from the owners themselves. Like the owners themselves have total direct control. They don't. It's like there's no way. There's no higher ups really. And like, sure, like there's HR in some of these places. Like there's HR at this place, and I did say some things about it. But like at the same time, I don't think it's ever going to go through and like whatever. But it's just this thing where it's like constant kind of just negative chatter, constant just like, and the so-and-so didn't do this last night, so-and-so didn't do this today. It's like, night shift didn't do what, or the later shift didn't do what they were supposed to do, because there's no night shift at this place, but, it's like, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And then it's like, boom, and then night shift says the same thing. It's like, no, day shift didn't do what they were supposed to do. So it's like, it's like, and that is basically the 90%, 99% of, like, the chatter there could be summarized within, like, that alone. Like, there's no, I feel exhausted just talking about it. Like, some of these places I've worked at, they're just so, like, deadening. Especially if, I mean, I get that I think a lot about these things, and as a general analytic person, I just think, like, I keep trying to, like, get myself out of these jobs and trying to do something, and it's like I'm trying to think of, like, ways to do that, and I'm thinking, like, well, maybe can I just, like, tutor people over Zoom for, I don't care if I get paltry tips for it, I don't care, I'll tutor you. You guys want to learn guitar? Whatever. No. You guys want to, like, whatever. So I don't really know. I'm not super good at it, but, you know. You know, whatever. You know, you guys want to learn basic and beginner guitar? I'll teach you. Whatever. That's, well, I'm not, don't consider that a set in stone proposition, but I will. That is definitely something I'm thinking of. You guys want to learn about literature and classic stuff like that? And I can give you an introductory course or something like that. Anything to keep me from going back to these jobs and stuff. And it's like, oh, well, you're just lazy. Maybe. I don't know. But I know for a fact what's going to happen when I go back. I'm just going to be fucking miserable. And that's the truth of the matter. Like, I'm just going to be massively miserable. I'm just going to secure this thing, like, oh no, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. And I'm, like, yeah, I'm here, but at the same time, the things in the meantime are like this thing where it's like, well, what if I just apply for certain jobs? And I have tried. Even for me to get, listen to me, even for me to get a custodian job, to be a Henry Darger and to be in a hospital, you know, to be, you know, to do all my art and stuff on the side and all my overthinking and all my dramatic crap on the side, and to keep that away from the world and to just work a custodian job where nobody, that's just me being dramatic, where nobody bothers me, but, you know, just let me sweep your floors. I'll be a ghost. Even that is hard to get. I cannot get a custodian job. It's so hard. Like, it's so, the only thing you can find in your immediate things is, like, either I go back to this, it's an either or, which is weird because it's like, there's so many, it seems like there's, you know, like what I just proposed, you know, what I just said, it's a horrible way of describing it, but, what I just proposed, like, even that's an option out of a millions option. I could do this, I could do this, I could go to a, very private school where I could learn how to do something and get a certificate so that I could do this or that and something that I love. I'm not trying to limit myself, but, like, it does seem sometimes where it's like the only things pragmatically that I can say with my you know, my limited abilities to kind of discern the socioeconomic sphere, you know, is construction work or fast food. Those are the only things. It's like either you go back, either you just go broke, or yeah, like, that's kind of it's like this thing where, like, it's like easy for the people who do those type of things, who don't really think a lot outside the box, and I'm not trying to denigrate them for that, but there's plenty of people I've met nice tradespeople in the union and stuff like that. Plenty of them, really nice people, but it's not enough to cajole me back into doing it. I just don't like it. I think at the end of the day, your voice, your atomic existential voice, that is the ruling thing, and it's like, as corny as it sounds, like, it's, I've just always had a, you know, premonition sounds way too dramatic again, but it's always just had an inkling that something was, you know, like that I would not be, you know, like looking back in hindsight, looking, you know, sweeping floors, you know, doing stuff like that, because trade union stuff, I was like, you know what, I might do this for a couple years, 3, maybe at the most, like, till I finish this apprenticeship or whatever, and then I'm just going to try to do something else, and then that's what I tried doing, and then I'm like, well, I tried the whole writing from home, doing that type of thing, trying to get that, but, you know, not many people, like, actually bought my first novel, plus a lot of hours goes into writing and reading, too, obviously, both are almost like they're like, costly things, because you're like, you have to spend inordinate amounts of time, reassessing drafts and looking over things and writing things. And then, there's obviously the more immediate things that I'm, in the stage of doing with my novel, which is kind of just the brunt, intuitive, info gulping in stuff where it's just like reading all this stuff, getting all these impressions of humanity and sparse bits of poetry that I suck at writing poetry, but maybe beat poetry in that sense, or it's like has more of a kind of cadence to it, or a free wheeling cadence. But like, garnering all these things, and then also, bursts of inspiration where I'm just like, scrolling into my phone memo or whatever's closest, and where it's like, if I don't write it down now, it's gonna just go, it's just gonna explode. Disappear and dissipate. It'll never be seen again. I've tried. Like, the second you try to think about it, you're like, darn it, what did I just think about? What was the name? It was a silly name, or it was like something like, it was something about like something about I've noticed about typewriters or something like that, and it's just like, oh, it went away, because you thought about it. That type of stuff, like that costs money because you're at home, you need hours alone, and yeah, it's just but yeah, like again, like, if I don't know if anybody really sees this video, I don't really, again, part of me doesn't care, like, I genuinely, but like at the core, like I'm gonna be honest, like, I do think about it, and I have a lot of like, wouldn't it be nice if people such and such, about amount of people watch it. Not to say that it solves everything, because I've also heard about people that seem to be doing well on YouTube that are like, yeah, putting so much time into it and putting so much, so many videos and stuff, and it's just like, with them, it's like, even still, it's like hard for them to even break past, to like, they're like, some of them are like 18 grand a year from YouTube or something. It's just like a number I might have vaguely heard of, but yeah, it's like, I'm not trying to say that like money, I really, like, if I would be super happy if I just had enough just to pay the phone bills, to pay just my car, stuff, where it's at the point where right now the money's like, so it's going down to such a level. Luckily, I'm not like living in a place where the rent is super high at all. Like, I'm not like in LA, or I'm not in New York, where it's just like insane rent. And some people have different tendencies. They're like, I'm totally fine being flat broke and in debt, or doing this or that, and I'm fine being broke and stuff. But like at the same time, it's like, it's not ideal. So it's not like, I feel weird. It's like, it's almost like an Andy Kaufman type of, like, me, begging for the audience. It's like, can you guys give me money? It's like, I just got a divorce. But it is I am pleading in a polite, more like, if you guys want. So some of the things I might offer is, unless my schedule also changes and I do get some type of job coming up. But the main thing is, like, I could offer my time, and I could see how this freelance type of Skype/Zoom tutoring stuff can do. And I've tried, but it is hard because I don't have a degree. I just have, I went to the school of me, of just reading compiled stuff over, years and years, and that's. I don't think that makes me like an honorary degree or a graduate, but it's more so just like the self-taught type of thing, the pyramid of different things I did. But yeah, it's like, that might be something that me coming up in the future is that, and yeah, I mean, maybe it is, part of it is, like I am being a basket case here, but, and I'm probably just gonna, cringe, as much as that word is. The word cringe itself has become cringe. But as much as that, I'm as much as I'll cringe at this later, wince my eyes, and I do think, like, maybe it's like, you never try, you never know type of thing, as cliche as that sounds, where it's like, if I just put this out, and like, maybe I'll put more content like this, where it's like spur of the moment stuff, but then again, it's like, there are channels that might only put out like one, they'll put one video out like every few months or so, but they're like so good. So like, I don't know, what is it want to do? Do I want to do that? I don't know. But yeah, so get some back and forth. That's what I'm trying to get, is that just some type of back and forth. Like, If you guys want to share it, I hate doing that, but if you feel compelled, you can support me on Patreon as well. I don't know, like, the stuff there, like, what type of thing I'm doing there. It's something I might even think of a kind of like almost not on an ethical, but just like, I don't know, like, I'm not consider it more of like if you feel compelled even to put $1 in, that could go a long way or whatever. Because like the weird slippery slope thing with a lot of things. I don't know like exactly what. It might be something I might not do all the time, but yeah, I will try to like do stuff like I'm releasing parts of my audiobook on there too, as they serially, I guess you would say, traditional fashion, I guess, like just as I finish them, editing them, I'm going to keep publishing more, but that's one thing you can expect. Some people do things where they're like, oh, you get the script to my video, but like I don't write scripts to my videos, so like I don't see how that would be. And to be honest, I don't really know why anybody would actually be interested in that. I mean, that's just kind of like maybe as a matter of my own kind of intuitive sense of like what, but I don't know. It's do what you guys want to do, whatever you do. But if you feel compelled, just from your own volition, the kindness of your hearts. So, thank you for watching. Whatever this is, I honestly don't know. But I'm gonna try to attempt to go back to getting something done of some value today. If you count this as value, I'm not really sure. It was mostly just me whining the whole time. But thank you for putting up with this. Well, more videos to come, obviously. But then again, life changes a lot. There's fluctuations, so it could be like, nothing's ever set in stone, like I said. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you all on the next one.